Good morning, everybody. Well, today's the first day of our Think 25 um, group workshop. Okay, so this is going to go on for the next 12 weeks here live in Ontario, Fremont. So that's what I'm committed to. So now this is meant to be for a live course, right? So there's going to be some people here who are going to be doing it live. If you're going to do it offline or not live, there's certain requirements that you still must do the homework, right? So what is Think 25? A lot of people have asked me over the weekend, what is it? Well, basically, it's a workshop and it's also a group that I like to reignite. People that want to do at least 25 deals a year is the goal, right? Now, will you do 25 deals? Maybe, maybe not. That's going to be depend on you. But the actions we will take is going to lead you to 25 deals. Now, 25 deals in today's marketplace is a lot of money, right? It's probably $300,000 to $500,000. The question is, how committed are people in earning that money, right? Do you really want to earn $300,000 or $500,000? Or are you just doing this to make ends meet, to supplement your income, or, you know, as a part-time job because you're not sure if you want to do this 20, 30 years, right? It took me 2 weeks to determine this is something I want to do long-term, right? I never thought, 34 years ago that I would be a full-time realtor. My goal was to get into real estate, learn about real estate, do some more investments. So I was a real estate investor when I started. Okay. And they said, hey, you should get your license, save some money on the commissions, learn the business, right? That's the best way. So that's where I come from. Right. I attended one sales meeting. I met my mentor back then. He was a sales manager and asked him, hey, how much can you actually make? Well, he told me back in 91, he was earning about 275 back in 91. Do the math now, that's over $1 million, right? Okay. I met Mike Ferry back in 92. He's, and that's where he made me start think bigger, right? He always says, hey, motivate yourself, get into debt, right? Figure out what you want, either mentally, right? And he doesn't mean, be frivolous with your debt. And that's not what we teach, okay? Basically, is can you train yourself to want something more? I remember some of you guys, I've been to my class and I said, hey, I need you to become materialistic. What I meant by that, because some people thought that I was something, they took offense to it. What I mean by that is you need to put your goals into something it's tangible. You can see it, right? It's material, right? Whatever that may be, new house, new, charity, things like that, right? And as I always said, money just gives us options. That's all it does. It's options. Options to take time off, options to give to charity, options to send our kids to school, grandkids, whatever, right? That's all money does, right? So the question is, how much money do you want to earn? So one of the things that we're going to figure out today and throughout this course is, what is that income goal that you're going to tell yourself, hey, this is my number, right? And then we're going to equate that to number of deals, right? And they said most agents will do between 1 to 3, 4 deals a year because especially in our area, right? You can earn $20,000, $30,000 a deal, a couple deals here and there. You can survive, right? But to me, 6 figures in the Bay Area is poverty, right? When you're applying for a loan, right? They say, hey, what is your median income, right? It's like 150, 175. So the question is, can you see yourself earning that? Because that's the first step in earning a lot of money is can you see yourself earning that money, right? Acting as if, right? And that's where most successful people, if you can see it, they act as if. Then this is not to be boastful or anything like that. This is not to show off or anything, but they act. So what is a Think 25 person really acting, right? So here's your first homework for the week, right? Is to create a perfect schedule, right? So that's your number one thing. Create a perfect day. Okay, what does your day look like, right? What time do you wake up? Right, like this today, right? It was storming, raining wherever you may be, right? Like I know in Half Bay it was storming, right? There was a bunch of accidents, right? So some people may be coming to the call, to the class a little late, maybe, right? For whatever reason. So here's the question, right? How strong is your schedule, right? When you say, I'm going to wake up at a certain time, right? What time do you say you're going to wake up? Anybody? 6 a.m., right? So here's the question, right? At 6 a.m., are you awake? Right? Right? So the question is, are you awake? Well, then what do you need to do? So number two is I want you to create some affirmations now. Top 10 affirmations. That's number two. Right? So top 10 affirmations, right? When you wake up, what is the first couple words out of your mouth? Okay?
Thank God.
What you right? Thank God, right? What is it? Yeah, give thanks. Okay, could be one, right?
Yeah.
What else? What else could you say to yourself that's positive?
I got this.
I got this, right? So think about that, right? In the morning, right? I say I'm alive, excited, full of energy, right? That's my first affirmation. Then, give thanks, right? Again, it's up to you. I learned that a long time ago. I'm alive, excited, and full of energy, right? That's my first words out of my mouth, usually. Sometimes it's, oh, I'm still tired, right? Then I change that, right? If I have something to be excited about for the day, no matter how tired I am, I'm going to get up. Can we agree? If you have a 6 a.m. flight, right? And you had a long evening, and some people are probably not sleeping because they want to pack last minute, right? See, if you have something excited to go to, right? Would you agree that you're going to do whatever it takes, like that vacation or something, whatever it is, right? So when you wake up in the morning, how excited are you for the day?
Yeah.
What are the first things do you see? Right?
Opportunity.
Right? What do you see? So homework number 3. I want you to create a vision board. Right? Do you guys have a vision board? You should have multiple ones. Right? I tell you, take a picture of your vision board so it's on your phone. You see it. Right? And what is a vision board? It's very simple, right? Vision board is just some things you want. Whatever that means, trips, cars, money, whatever it might be, right? Just get a board like this, right? We have here in Fremont, right? A board. And put some pictures, wherever that may be. The internet's a great place to start with pictures, right? Right? Because one of these weeks we're gonna show and tell us like, hey, let me see your vision board, right? I don't need to see the board, I just need to see a picture of it, right? Because if you don't have, what you see, right? You taste it, feel it, right? All the 5 senses, right? To where these goals that you have, it's like, I want it. How real can you make your goals real? Right? Because if you just say, I just want a car, I say, okay, what color? You should know what color, right? What options do you want? So you've done some work, right? If you've been thinking about it for the last couple of weeks, couple of months, you should know what it is. How much is it? What's your payment going to be? How much down payment do you need? How many houses do you have to sell before you buy that car? You should be like thinking about this, right? Okay. I remember when I bought my first car. Yeah, I tested over a couple times, right? Before I bought my first house, sat in the model home for a while, for like 3-4 months, right? Every week I was at the model home, till eventually like, okay, time to buy it, right? It's how can you make it real, right? Okay. So homework number 1 is create your perfect day. What does your perfect day looks like? So in your perfect day, there are 4 things you need to have in there, right? I need you to figure out what time do you plan to wake up, right? What time do you plan to wake up? Number 2, ideally, what time do you want to go to bed? Okay. So ideally, what time? Okay. What's an ideal time for you to go to bed? Not that you will, but ideal, right?
9:30.
Okay. Because some of us here have texted at 3 o'clock, 1 a.m. in the morning before, right? I know who you are. I got those messages. Sometimes I respond, sometimes I don't, right? Yeah. That doesn't mean that, it just happens to be like I'm doing something and you guys were doing something too, right? Yeah, be surprised, right? Now, I'm not saying that that's your schedule, right? But sometimes that's the case. We have to have put overtime, right? What's more important? What time you wake up? What time you go to bed?
What's up?
Wake up.
Anyone?
But both of them are important because if you don't get enough rest.
All right, okay. It's very important. It's more important that the time you get up, right? Yes, number one is that you got up, right? Because when you go to bed, there's no guarantee you're gonna wake up, right? So yes, how you get up is really the most important, right? Now, why do I say that? Because it starts your day. No matter how tired you are, it starts your day. You go to bed at 3 a.m., at 6 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever it is, that starts your day, right? So now either you followed your schedule or you start, oh, no, I'm not going to go to the gym or I'm not going to do this. You start cutting it off, right? I'm a proponent of naps in the middle of the afternoon, only if you're tired. Naps are good. It's been proven. Naps, not sleep. Naps, right? Yeah, I used to have a couch in my office before, right? Because I would take a nap because when I'm tired, it's not often, but sometimes you just gotta just relax.
I like to call it meditation.
Meditation. Some of us have done it in our cars, right? Yeah, power naps, right? Yeah, it's okay, right? Because sometimes we need a quick recharge. Like a 10-minute, 15-minute nap sometimes is better than at 6 a.m. when your alarm goes off, you trying to get an extra 15, 20 minutes, right? You're forcing yourself to get that extra 15, 20 minutes, right? No, get up already. I'm alive, excited, full of energy, right? That's your first 3 words now, right? Or 4 words. I'm alive, excited, and full of energy. Start using that and see if that works. Because homework number 2 was to create your top 10 affirmations, right? So number 1, create your perfect day. What time you wake up, what time you go to bed, ideally. 2 other things in there. What time do you want to start working? And what time do you want to end working? Right? So ideally, what time do you want to start working? For some, especially if you have young kids, right? It's like 9:15, maybe 9 o'clock, right? Some people called me this morning. It's like, I'm going to be late because I have to take my kids to school, right? It's okay. You don't have to follow my schedule or someone else's schedule. It's your schedule. Most of our top agents are moms, okay? Because they control their schedule pretty well, right? Like, Kajol, right? She starts her day around 4 o'clock in the morning because that's her quiet time before the kid starts to, she has to take care of the kids, right? I remember when I spoke to Kajol a while back, she wanted to do more deals. I told her at some point, I said, I need you to get a nanny first and then a full-time nanny, to help around the house. Like, how many of you guys have a cleaner that cleans the house, right? How much time is that, right? How much is how much is your time out is, how you value your time, right? Because, yeah, you like cleaning, right? No one cleans better than you. I understand that, right? Right? So, which is fine, right? I understand that, okay? Then you have to put aside time for that. Because sometimes cleaning, doing yard work is therapeutic, right? Yeah. It's up to you where you spend your time. My point is, there are things that you can subcontract, you can delegate to someone for less money than you would earn. Now, if you're not cleaning the house, doing the yard work, you have extra hours. What do you do with that time? Now, you may say, I just want to relax. Then that's what your time is worth. But you say, I'm going to go prospect. Then you might multiply your income, right? So again, it's up to you, all right? Okay? It's like doing a garage sale. Anyone ever do a garage sale, right? Yeah. What we do now, just leave it out in the front. Someone will pick it up. Forget about trying to make a couple of dollars, right? Right? Does that make sense? Right? I remember I did one time before. Oh, I made $800 a whole day. I said, that was fun, right? It was to try it out. But understand, hey, if I did an open house, I could earn X amount of dollars. Now, there's no guarantee you're going to do a deal. But again, it's not that day's activity that got you that deal. It's other things, right? Okay. So it's the accumulation effect. Just remember the accumulation effect. Okay. So, number 1, perfect day, right? What time you wake up, what time you go to bed, what time you want to start work, what time you want to end work. We're going to fill in the work time. Okay. And we're going to see how much time you have for work. You guys got that? Okay. I'm going to draft that. Yeah. The people on Zoom, we're gonna end them at 1 o'clock, right? And then we're gonna do our own work here, okay? Because this class is meant for, as a live class, okay? All right, so what was homework number 3?
Vision board.
Vision board. Start creating your vision board. Start putting pictures to your goals, right? I don't, when I started, it was all over. It was in the mirror, in a board like this, it was a keychain, right? To where I knew what my goals were, right? So to you, what is your number one goal? If I was someone to ask you, what is your number one goal, right? Okay. What is that, right? So define that on your vision board. What is that in your vision board? My number one goal is blank, whatever that may be. Could be deals, dollars, car, house, women or woman for my single friends. Right? There's a couple of you single people here, right? Whatever that might be, a spouse. I don't know what it is, right? Or dream wedding, right? Dream vacation, whatever it might be. Just what if I was asked, what is your number one goal? Right, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. Okay, all right. So, and then number 4, I want you to now draft up the rest of the year, 2025. I need you to grab a yearly calendar. Yes, but you know where to get one, right?
Title company?
Tile company, right? Right. Or I'm sure there's one on the internet, right? You know how to get a yearly calendar, right? So for the next 9 months, I need you to define where your 6 weeks of vacation are going to be. 6 weeks, right? So 6 weeks vacation.
That's a good vacation.
I don't know if it's 1 week at a time, 2 weeks at a time, right? But where's that week, right? Okay, where's that week? Right. So define, where that vacation is, right? I need you to determine with that yearly calendar, how many days are you going to work between now and the end of the year? So there's technically about how many days the end of the year?
Now? 200.
20, approximately 270.
Yeah, 273, right? Okay, I think it's 273 is the actual number. Okay, so 9 months times 30 days is 270 plus a couple 31 days in there, right? Yeah, so at least 270 days minimum, right? How many days do you plan to work? So we're still on number 4. Your plan out your year, right? And then number 5, I want you to bring your business plan. You guys all have business plans. If not the very simple business plan that I shared, there's 10 questions, like how many deals, how many hours, right? If not, we're going to work on that next week, okay? With that business plan, okay, I need you to look at it and see if it's still realistic for you, right? Because you guys set a business plan for 2025. Now, it's no longer 12 months. Now we have 9 months. Where are you with that? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I asked you guys to bring $100 bill, right? Who brought their $100 bill? Can you see it?
Yes.
Shoot.
I just want to see $100 bill. I want to see $100 bill. Okay. So $100 bill, right? Okay. Can I change it? Okay. All right. All right. So this is okay. Some of you guys are like, oh, what are they doing? Right. Okay. There's a purpose to this homework, right? Right. So number 6, right, is to bring that $100 bill, right? Okay.
No, number 6, you said? Oh, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
number 6, right?
Number 6 is
It's $100 bill, right? Which I already said last week, right? Okay. Yes.
Oh, number 4 was yearly calendar. Number 5 was.
Business plan.
Business plan.
Yeah, what was number 2?
Okay, we're gonna review this. We'll review this, right? We'll review this. Okay. So number 6 is bring that $100 bill, right? Number 6, $100 bill. Number 7, right? I asked you guys to bring how many checks? 3 blank checks, right? So with those 3 blank checks, we're gonna do something with them today. So, right, if you haven't yet, right? Like for instance, what time does the class start?
9 o'clock.
Right? So if you arrive after 9, you get what? A strike, a check, right? Or I get the check. You lose. Right? So basically, there's a purpose why the class starts at 9. All right. If I can make it here, from Half Moon Bay, right? Okay. When it's raining and storming, right? You should be able to make it too. Now, I understand there's reasons, right? And it's okay. It happens. Okay. It happens. My question is, were you purposeful in wanting to be here on time? And did you allow yourself enough time? This is a practice for your appointments. Because if you have a 9 a.m. appointment here, how much preparation are you going to do, right? Are you going to prepare this morning or last night, right? Some of you guys, we had preparation from last week for a couple of these things, right? Okay. It's that. It's details, right? But also it's a mindset thing. So we want to work on that. Okay. All right. So number 7 is the 3 blank checks, right? And then number 8, right? I already told you guys, put on your vacations, right? So number 8, I want you guys to learn now, finish up your 5 pillars of happiness, right? Yes, you have your pillars, right? Start working on that. You guys know about the 5 pillars, right? Okay. I gave you guys that on a typable format, right? On Word, right? Because I want that to be a working document, because that changes, right? That changes, right? And as much as you can, put the priority, like what's more important. There's 3 12-month goals, there's 3 2 to 5 year goals, right? And there's 4 5-year and up goals, right? In 5 categories, right? Friends and family, what? Finance, faith, finance, right? Friends and family, fitness, and most important, fun. Right? The 5 categories, right? And some people say, hey, Craig, that's all. The first 4 is all fun. What else? Well, you need to think outside the box, right? My goal is eventually for you guys to have 10 in each of those, right? Instead of just 3, 3, and 4. Because how badly can you think, right? Like friends and family, what would be 3 things you want to do with your family this year, the next 12 months, right? It's simple. It could be just have weekly dinners, or it could be, monthly dinners, right? Something, or not at all. Yeah. So what do you want to do with your friends, right? Because see, all these connections will build business. See, that's the goal, right? See, sometimes we neglect the people we know or that know us. Just reach out. Because one of the first homework we're going to have this week is number 8, is to reach out to at least 25 people, right? So number 8, reach out to at least 25 people this week.
We need to finish the pillars, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, number 8. Okay, number 9. Okay, number 8 is the pillars. Okay, right?
What was that? 3, 3, 4 again?
Okay, so on the 5 pillars of happiness, we're going to work on this later, right? Basically, there's 3 goals in each of those that are at least 12 months, 3 that's 2 to 5 years, and there's 4 things you want to do that's more than 5 years. So this will be more clear later for some people who have not done that yet, okay? But the 5 pillars, because that is going to go into what motivates you, right? Right? What are you going to do with the money? Do you know how much money you want to earn, right? Okay. So that was number 8 is the 5 pillars. So number 9 was
Reach out to
reach out to 25 people, right? Now, we'll talk more about who the 25 people are. I would assume that it would be 25 people Okay, we're going to give you some ideas on that. What to say, right? Okay. So, and number 10 is to determine your farm area, right? At least 1,000 homeowners, right? So together with your title rep, right? Next week, I'll try to invite a couple of them. You guys should know some of them already, determine your 1,000 homeowner, okay? So that means it's at least 1,500 because a third of those will be tenant occupied, right? Investor, at least 1,000 homeowners, roughly around that number, okay? So determine where it will be your main prospecting area for future listings. Because if you want to do 25 deals and 12 listings a year minimum, you're going to have to start a main prospecting area where monthly you're doing something there, okay? Because if you do something consistently, something good will happen. What happens is we don't do anything consistently enough. All right. So ask yourself, what is something I do consistently? Brush your teeth,
Eat.
eat, go to sleep, right? All those things, right? So you are familiar with things consistently, right? So now the question is, can you do something consistent in your business? So those are 10 things, right? So let's review. First one,
Vision board.
no.
Oh, wait a minute, it's number one.
Perfect
What?
day. Perfect day.
What does your perfect day look like? Start to define it,
Oh,
right? And in that perfect day, now let's talk about it. What time do you want to wake up? Right? Now, I heard 6, right? What time do you want to go to bed?
9.
9. Okay. If that's your, so that means if someone wakes up at 6, goes to bed at 9, how many hours of sleep? 9.
8.
Right? That's 9 hours, right? It's 9 hours, right? Sleep at 9,
Beauty
that's-
sleep.
right? Okay. Now, if that's you, good, right? The question is, is that conducive to what you want? Right now, I'm not going to tell you how much sleep to get. Okay, it's going to be up to you, right? But good night's sleep is very important. I agree with that. Okay, but sleep is not. It's not everything, right? Okay, if you're excited, like I said earlier, right? If you have a flight to catch, you will go on 1 hour sleep, right? And here's what I believe it was Brian Tracy that taught me this a long time ago, or maybe Zig Ziglar. He said, "Why do I get so busy just before I go on vacations?
always.
I'm leaving tomorrow, and things are I gotta do things, right? Why does that happen? Why do you think that happens?
You want to be more productive.
Okay.
Not necessarily more productive.
Take care of things before you leave.
It just happens.
Mhm.
Things just happen. I don't know if that's true for you. I know it's true for me,
Always.
right? There's always things, deals are like, people are calling me like, now I can't go on vacation. Huh? Yeah. So that's what he said. Travel more often, right? Or at least plan on it,
Mhm.
right? Start planning more vacations and see what happens. Right?
It's something with the energy.
It's the energy, right? Some people may believe in that, right? There is energy, right? It could be it. I don't know what it is, but it happens very often to most people that I know, because they're always, Greg, I'm going on vacation. I need your help. That's what it's like. That's usually the type of calls. Like, what do I do if I go on vacation? Well, that's where your business has to go on with or without you. That's why we have things in place. Your TC is very helpful. Partnering up with an agent, covering each other for when they go on vacation, you can cover. You guys work out the compensation, all that. But bottom line is, you can put systems in place, because if you're saying, "Oh, I never, I can't go on vacation because I'm too busy," right? Well, that defeated that purpose, right? So, number one, create your perfect day, right? Number two,
Affirmations.
Top 10 upper.
top 10 affirmations, right? So, by the end of the day, hopefully you guys will have at least 5 to 10, right? Number three,
Vision board.
create your vision board, right? Your vision board, okay? Step 4,
Calendar,
Draft up.
rest of the year.
okay? Get a calendar for the rest of the year. Plan it out, which days you plan to work, right? Figure out where your 6 weeks of vacation is going to be. And this is where 6 weeks. Yeah, 6 weeks, right? Some of you guys already challenged with that. Okay, right? Like, what's 6 weeks? Okay, all right, 6 weeks of vacation, right? And then number 5, right?
Yep.
Is
Business plan.
your business plan. I want you to review your business plan, right? Okay, and then because the following week you're going to meet with your manager about that. We're gonna wrap that up next week. Your business plan. You need to bring it, fill it out, right? Number 6,
$100 bill.
bring $100 bill, right?
Are we supposed to bring it every week? What?
Yeah, every week, unless you give it to me, unless you lose it, right? Yeah, you use it or lose it, right? Yeah, some of you guys need to bring multiple $100 bills. Yeah. So here's the thing, right? What's gonna make you do the work? You say you're gonna do the work, yeah? So is $100 bill or that loss of $100 bill gonna make you do the work?
Possibly.
Possibly, right? For some of you, it might cost you $1,000. Now, the work that I'm gonna share with you is not something that cannot be accomplished, right? And we'll talk about that, okay? So number 7,
3 blank checks.
3 blank checks. You guys are like, who brought their 3 blank checks today? Right? Okay, good. Good. We're gonna put that to use, right? All right. So some of you guys are like, how you feeling, Blaze?
I don't have a checkbook.
Okay. So here's the thing, right? You need to get 3 blank checks at some point, right? And you can get that from your bank. If you have a bank account,
Yeah.
get 3 blank checks. Yes.
No
You ju-
more. Unless you have to order the whole package.
Okay, you
That's
order the
what
whole
you
pack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it takes time. It takes about 15 days.
They don't
But
give.
the-
Oh, not
No.
anymore. They're
No.
quick.
It's quick. It should be take 15 minutes, but okay.
Okay.
Get your 3 blank checks by next week, right?
Yeah.
online
Yeah.
and you can print the check from there.
Yeah.
On
Okay.
the-
So talk to your bank about that, right? Tell me, all right. Number 8 is
Five
Finish
pillars.
5 pillars.
your 5 pillars, right? So you start working on your 5 pillars, right? It's in your email, right? Today we're gonna work on it some more because you should know what your most important ones. Like you should have one already done, right? Like what's your financial goal? You should know what that is, right? Things you want to do with your family, you should know what that is, right? Visit mom every week. That could be it. See, don't make it more difficult than what it is. See, some of you guys are already doing this, right? Now I want you to be more purposeful, right? And that's what that pillars is for, is to be purposeful, right? And number 9,
Reach out to
25
the
people. 25.
25 people, right? So let's talk about that. Do you have 25 phone numbers?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. All right. So good. So you can reach out to 25 people, right? Yeah. I'm assuming these people are right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're going to give you a script that you can use, right? And number 10 is
Determine.
Determine farm.
Determine your farm. run your farm, right? Yeah.
Homeowners.
At least 1,000 homeowners, right? So if that could be multiple areas, right? It's not just the lake, right? In the work, right? You have to go out because there's more than, it's less than 1,000 in there, right? And again, this is where next week we're going to need to determine, is that a good farm for you, right? Some of you guys know how to do the stats already, great. If some of you guys have contacted your tile company already, great. Now, how many of you guys in your farm have a consistent monthly plan to either door drop or door knock? Right? That's what you got to have, right? At least once a month, you got to visit that farm, either just to drop flyers, right? Like for instance, this past week or so, it's been raining, right? So if this was the week, then you have to have something to do when it's sunny, right? At some point, it's got to catch up, right? So today is raining. So what do? Well, this is where the phone comes into play, right? Because remember, there's 3 ways to contact people. Face to face, we can't really do that, right? Technically, unless we're like having lunch or something or coffee in a rainy day. Number 2 is
Right.
face to face, phone number 2, then print, right? And print is social media, text, whatever, right? Okay, so anything that's not you're not talking to someone, right? So
So the note cards.
note cards, writing note cards, right? So on a rainy day like this, right? This is where I learned, instead of working on our business, right? We got to work instead of working in our business, we got to work on our business. Meaning, instead of doing the prospecting, we need to work on how to build it, how to make it better, right? Or you can just say, okay, today I'm going to be one of those lazy days. That's okay, right? You're allowed that, right? The question is, how many days work are you going to put in, right? Okay, so any questions so far?
You said phone, print, and what was one more thing?
Face to face.
Face to face. Yes, Carolyn.
Lost.
Okay. Lost on where?
Well, I've been lost since
Yeah.
a few months.
Okay, change your affirmation, right?
Yeah.
Are we, the 8 things or 9 things you're talking about, is that in the business plan?
It's not in the business plan, it's your homework. Right? It's your homework, right? Okay. So part of this class is the growth process, right? If you don't have affirmations yet, I can't understand how you're going to do 25 deals, right? you gotta have something positive. I want you to start thinking positively. Like the first thing I want you to think positively is, I can do 25 deals. So I need you to sell yourself on that. Can you do 25 deals? Because if you can't think that up here, is it easy for you to say, I will close 25 deals in 2025, in 2026? Can you say it?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, 25 years and 2025.
You have to believe it first,
absolutely.
right?
I'm going to do.
You have to believe it first,
Yes.
right? Because if you're not sold yourself, how can you sell yourself throughout the year? Right? Okay. And we're going to find out in 12 weeks. Do you have the, the fitness up here to actually do it? Right? We'll see. Right? Some of you guys have that, hey, I want to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Now I have to help you put that system in place. Like if I go on vacation, is my business going to continue? Right? We talked about database last week, right? Okay, what did you do with it, right? The personal marketing company, you have a newsletter. You're going to start to invest in your business, right? Now, okay? Because if you don't invest in your business now, success is going to wait for you. It's going to take longer. What you want to do is do it sooner, right? Yes. Sure.
So like you said, send a three to your farm, 3 ways you can connect. So does the newsletter or part of that or no?
No, the newsletter is not part of it because the newsletter is primarily for database, people who you've met in the farm. The farm package or what you're going to send in your farming is different than what you're sending to them monthly.
So when you go to farm, like sometimes you take people's contact information.
Hmm.
You have those, so that you will still go and talk to them every month and also send them a flyer, e-flyer.
It depends on what their plans are, right? So next week, next week or the week after, I'm going to show you what I do with everyone that I meet. Like, if I meet you today, right, from my farm, tomorrow you will get a thank you card, right? Everybody gets a thank you card. It was a pleasure meeting you the next day, or a text or an email, okay? Because you need to build on that meeting, right? Okay. So if you go to a breakfast meeting with a bunch of people and you get their contact info, then you need to, usually I text people right after, say, hey, it was a pleasure meeting you at the Union City Chamber event, right? Let's connect, in next week, and let's talk about how we can help each other's business grow, right? That was, one event. Or it could be, hey, it was a pleasure meeting you at the door, thanks for taking the time to answer some questions about the neighborhood. And thanks for sharing, something like that. You build on it. And then from there, they get a newsletter. It builds on that. Then next month, it builds on it. Next quarter, you're going to call them or visit them again. It builds on that. Now, imagine if you now do that 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times a month, a week, then that's where the business will grow. Right? And this is where, when we talk about database in the 4th week or so, it's what are you doing to these 25? So I'll give you guys some ideas, okay? So you guys got the 10 homework, right? We'll review it again at the end, okay? So any questions so far? We're good? All right, so
Pretty much time frame of 25 people could be for the entire month, right? One person a day for 25 days,
no, it's one day.
one a day?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's gonna be your goal eventually, right? Is to make 25 contacts a day.
Okay.
Right? So now, to this week, it's only 25 in 1 week. That's 5 a day. Or you can make it 10 a day. It's up to you.
Mhm.
See, question is, are you going to do more than what is asked?
Yes.
Right? Or that is what is needed. Some of you guys are more advanced than others. Some of you guys have been this longer, right? And there are some people that says, hey, what are you teaching? So I'm sharing some things with them. But this is meant for a live class, so that way you guys can, build on it, right? It's not something that I'm just going to push. Here's the 12 weeks. Go run with it. That's what you want. We can do that. But bottom line is it's about growth, right? Like I said, the first,
I think 25 new people to the database, not reaching out to your circle of friends.
no, these are people in your database now that you have phone numbers for.
And reach out to them.
Reach out to them. We're going to tell you what to do, and you're going to come back with reports with what they said. And then we can see, okay, this is what you should do with that. Okay, because that's part of that growth, is some people is, say, what do I do with this person? They said this, they said that, what do I do? You kind of have to figure out in time how you would handle that. But if you have a system that, that works, you're mailing something to them, then you don't have to think about it. Because imagine this, right? What if you have like 10 good buyer leads, right? What are you doing with them? Right? That's hard. You need to have 10 buyers ready, willing to buy today, right? You put them in Real Scout, right? You're calling them every so often. Some of them, they're getting approved. Some of them, they're getting their credit straightened out. There's different things. How do you keep track of all of that? Now, what if you have 30 of those? Right? See, something is always, getting warmed up, right? It's kind of like cooking, yeah. You got to do the prep work, you got to have that sous chef, right? And you have to, warm it up a little bit, and then you start cooking it. Then you have to finish it in the oven, maybe, and then eventually, you can eat it. It's the same thing. You got to have processes. So that's what I'm hoping to show you guys, right, through this 12 weeks, right, that you can systemize your business to where it's just repeating. In real estate, we talk about the 90-day cycle. Every 90 days, just repeat what you did every quarter. And it's going to grow. Real estate's 90-day cycle. Whatever you do today pays you in 90 days. It's another thing we teach, right? Just recycle it every 90 days, right? The information changes, right?
Yes, and this is gonna come up later, but I just wanted to ask a couple things that I'm having problems with. For example, when you wanted to reply to a person that you're working with, how you want to establish that communication for first, second, and third connection to that person, whether it's in the phone or whether it's in a message or text or whatever it is the case, just get an idea with that. And that, of course, is gonna come later, so I can wait for that.
Okay. So what's your question?
How to create that message, or what kind of message you wanted to send. Like, for example, you met this person on the weekend and you want to follow up, whether it's give me status of where you at and so forth. So and that's what I wanted to kind of start learning, that follow up. And like I said, it's gonna come up later. I'm just saying because I still need to kind of get ahead of that.
All right. Okay. We're gonna talk about that. Okay. But let me make sure I address that at the end. Okay. All right. Okay. So Zoom World, I'm gonna sign off now. Okay. So you guys have your homework. So if you guys want to continue with the class, I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Otherwise, see you guys here live in Fremont. Okay.
Thank you, Greg.